Hello, welcome back. We're here with Jess.
Sorry, I don't know why I did that.
What was that?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
You're just feeling silly, quirky girl
Just-
tonight?
I'm just a fun silly girl. I just got off a Discord call with the girls,
Yes, playing Stardew.
Playing Stardew, kicking off
Who are
Pride.
you romancing?
I haven't even thought about that yet. Can I can't even. I don't even think I can say what our farm is on this podcast.
Is it bad?
Yeah,
Say it.
it's called Serving Cunt Farm.
Yes.
It was exactly enough characters. And then we I don't know who put it there. One of them put it there right in front of the farmhouse. There's just a sign that says cunt.
Yes.
Lowercase period. And we have one of the
Period.
new cats, a white cat, and her name is Madame.
Yes. Wait, I'm obsessed with
So
that.
I'm in a silly, funny, quirky mood.
Yes.
Obviously.
I'm so here for that. I'm going to be playing with my mods soon, and I'm really excited, but also super nervous. And I told them all that if they pursue Harvey, I'm going to permaban them from my chat.
Ooh.
So it's like I've claimed this digital man.
Listen, I was playing it and I was like doing my thing, and then once again I see Leah. That's who I married, well, almost married in my last file. She's the one that lives in the woods, right?
Yeah. She's like artsy one.
Love me some Leah.
Yeah.
I think also because I'm never gonna marry a woman, so I'm like, ooh, let's do it in
Do
this
it
game.
in a fantasy. I'm here for that. I usually go for Harvey, but I've recently learned Alex's charm points. And I think Alex is really sweet.
Have you ever dated Sebastian? He's like the fan favorite.
I have. He's chill. He's cool afterwards. Sebastian reads a little young to me, and being in my mid-30s, I'm sort of like, I don't
That's
know.
so valid. That's why I kind of feel the Elliot vibe, because Elliot does, to me, he feels like the oldest of the bunch, and so I'm kind of like, hello, Elliot.
Elliot's an interesting one because he's an artistic and creative, and those are very difficult people to romance because they're very like driven and focused, and I feel like he's one of those that unless you really know that archetype, he's hard to kind of break through that icy shell.
Yeah, that's true. He's one of the ones where you have to like go all the way to the end for it to feel gratifying.
Yeah.
Which some of those are frustrating, where it's like you get a lot, like Shane, you get a lot of blah, and then you get to max hearts, and then finally you get some good stuff.
Right.
Where it's like, is it worth it?
Well, and like Shane too, he has like a 2-heart event, and then his next event isn't until like 6 or something.
And it's not like they're good events. It's not like you're getting like positive events. They're really draining, like emotionally taxing events. Yeah.
Stardew's fun.
Love it though. Yeah.
Yeah, today we're talking about Canada's Drag Race.
Oh.
Is it okay if I share that I feel like we both had a really big deep sigh of relief when we realized we didn't have to do 13 today?
Yeah, when you texted me today and you're like, I messed up. It's Canada season 1 step 13. I was like, thank God.
I've been watching 13 in prep, and just every episode I'm like, God, I'm not looking forward to this.
So, okay, how did it feel watching Canada instead of 13?
It was so nice. So I binged all of it in 12 hours.
Incredible.
Because I've already seen it, but I just needed a refresher. So like I literally binged it all.
Well, okay, speaks to the watchability of the season, because I don't think you would binge 13 in 12 hours.
No, it's taken
unless
me
you're being like paid to.
3 weeks to get through just the first 5 episodes of 13. I just got to the episode where who goes home first? Kimora. Yeah, I just got to that one. I think maybe that's only episode 4. I just got to that one, and it's been 3 weeks. So, yeah, I think the watchability of Canada's Drag Race is really interesting. Do you remember where you were when we found out that Brooke was going to be the host? And what your thoughts were?
I really don't remember where I was. I remember feeling like, whoa.
Yeah.
Because she was the first, right? The first Rue girl?
Correct. This is only the second. No, this is the 3rd international season, because we had Thailand as the first one.
Yeah.
And then UK. And now this. So this is the 3rd one.
Yeah. So the
deal.
first English-speaking season not hosted by RuPaul.
Big deal. Yeah. Michelle's not involved either.
Michelle's not involved. It's a Rue girl. You can tell this season it's very much they're feeling out how much power they want to give to a Rue Girl host.
Right.
Compared to like if you watch like France or Mexico, like you see like they immediately are in a much more like position of power and like their statures established a lot more differently. But I feel like also for Brooke, it's different because these are her peers. Like these are people she's worked with.
Like they all know each other. Which has got to be weird.
So it is kind of different. It does kind of make sense. Where I feel like by this point, I feel like the girls who come on, especially now, the people they're casting, I feel like Brooke's already kind of been out of the scene.
Right.
But in these early seasons, like, yeah, these are Brooke's peers. So I feel like she's very much easing into power.
Yeah. And I feel like this is a pretty solid cast, too, because they're all kind of leaders in their own way. So, like, if she judges them, it's going to come off pretty fair and judicial, where it's not like she's, I don't know, booked these girls before. A lot of them are regular club headliners, right? So, like, they're the ones doing the scheduling and the booking, so it holds equal weight, but it doesn't feel like a power dynamic.
Yeah.
I think I remember at the time thinking, Brooke as a judge is going to be really interesting because she came off a little one note in her season.
Yeah.
She was just had her Vanjie storyline. She was very close runner up. And I don't know how that's going to work because how is it going to work without Rue hosting?
Yeah.
And I remember thinking that was odd. And then episode 1 dropped and we see that we've got Jeffrey Boyer Chapman, a regular of the Drag Race franchise.
Yes.
So I kind of felt at the time of release, not through it, sort of in good hands. Like, okay, Jeffrey's been around Rue. Jeffrey's got a good idea of how this is going to work. And then we had Stacey McKenzie, who
Queen.
I didn't know, but I mean, she just has so much commanding presence. And I was like, okay, I feel safe with this bunch. And then the runway happens where the guest judge takes over the cover girl walk and then the announcing the judges. And I thought, whoa. This is a huge format shift.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of mixed emotions at the time. Watching it again, I sort of see their hesitancy to take too much from Rue.
Yeah.
Because I feel like Pangina and Art are really good examples of judges who just took it and said, we're taking the IP of Drag Race.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it the way that we want to, and we're not going to apologize for it because we've never interacted with RuPaul.
Yeah.
We don't know her. So we're just going to do it our way. Where Brooke, I feel like, had to be a little more sensitive because it's like, I don't want Rue to necessarily take this away from me.
Yeah.
If I do a bad job. So let's try and just ease in as lightly as possible without realizing that I don't think RuPaul really cared that much.
It kind of feels like, well, it reminds me because Pat Sajak is stepping down as the host of Wheel of Fortune.
Oh.
I know, right? I believe Ryan Seacrest is taking over.
That's the one that Britney Spears thought was gay, right?
Fantastic. Important pop culture moments. Wife? Question mark? Or girlfriend?
Wife?
I think it's him. I really feel like Vanna should. This is a whole other conversation. But anyways, and also like with Jeopardy, they just had the new host take over after Alex. It's that same kind of feeling where like they just stepped into these big shoes, so they're not going to make any big waves or like do anything to like really make a splash yet. They're really just trying to like settle into this huge position, not ruffle any feathers, show they can do it well, and then change and adapt and and switch it up. So I feel like it's that kind of that same mentality of like she's stepping into an established role. You've already seen it done excellently by someone else, so it's kind of just like I'm gonna do it very timidly, and to show that I am like a professional and a diva, and I can work it. I'm a fierce diva who works it. Very that. So yeah, I get that. I did know who Stacey was though going into it. So I know Stacey was on the revival of Top Model that Rita Ora hosted. Oh. She was basically the equivalent of Miss J.
Very cool.
I don't know if she was the exact equivalent, but she was the runway coach. Which I mean, Miss J was. I think she was a more serious Miss J.
Right. I love Stacey's voice. That sort of like husky.
Yeah, she's so incredible. I remember her because she got in a fight on the show with one of the girls because one of the girls got really catty with her. You don't really see the side of her on Canada, but
No.
yeah, one of the girls got hot with her, and she got hot right back with her. And so it was really good. I was like, she was this like boss bitch, like model coach.
Let's go.
Runway coach. So I was really excited to see her. You saw a little bit of that in the sewing challenge, I would say. But I love Stacey. I know also people say she didn't come back because of COVID, which I think is initially true. But also I found out just like a couple months ago that she didn't want to come back because the labor laws of how they were operating. I believe the Canada's Drag Race production at the time was not union.
Oh.
And she did not want to be a part of a non-union gig.
Girl boss.
Right? So also knowing that, and I think they are now, as of either this season or the upcoming season is going to be, they are now, I believe it was a union or it was something related to labor, and it was something very fair to stand by. She didn't want to be a part of it if it wasn't. So that's also why she didn't return after this season. Little tea.
I really hope that they're able to bag her again for a future season because, God, she's such a queen.
Imagine if they do Versus the World and they bring her back.
Oh my God.
I would love it.
I would die. Okay, so before we get into the actual season, what were your thoughts about Jeffrey being there?
Initially, I mean, I was excited.
Right.
This was not long after, I mean, and in terms of timeline, All Stars 3, not long ago. He was the Bitchler.
And then All
He
Stars
was All Stars 5.
for the Snatchler.
Yes. So we've been seeing him a lot. He's fresh.
Right.
And it's clear that he's like one of the like it people for them right now. Yeah. And he was very liked at the time.
Yeah. I feel bad for all the backlash that he got. It's sort of like one of those, well, you said what you said, so stand by it. A lot of it did feel racially charged because they would attack Michelle, but like not nearly as hard as they did with him. And like nobody says shit to Brad.
And it felt easy also because I think he was not as high of stature either.
He was like Santino kind of.
Yeah.
Where it's like, you have no drag knowledge.
And can I say also, I feel like it was because he was also like a gay black man. Like, I don't know. I feel like sometimes people within the community feel more at ease cutting each other down.
Right.
When they are people within their own community.
Right.
But then it's like within your community, but then also the otherism of if they are a different race. Like, I feel like there's just a lot of levels where it's easier to attack certain people.
Absolutely.
So he definitely got a lot of unjust hate. Yeah. I also do think that there's like things he said that were not chill.
Oh, like telling Alona about their bumpy butt.
Yeah, that's the thing is like just certain things felt and like the delivery of it.
The tones.
It did
you
feel
all get
very,
the same
like,
amount of time, so use it better maybe. With the eyebrow raise and everything. Like, there were some gross things that he was saying. Did it warrant all the shit that people said? Absolutely not. And I feel bad that he felt so ostracized that he didn't even want to go back to the show.
Yeah.
But I mean,
it really speaks to like the Drag Race fandom.
Oh, and how especially it's starting to churn out this really malicious, dark energy that's just like satanic. You know, it's so
She's not
gross.
A Christian, no.
It's so gross at this point, and I feel like this is really when it started to build because we had seen some microaggressions and racism towards people like Jasmine and Kennedy, the vixen, a little bit here and there during All Stars, and especially to like Naomi. But then around this time, it was just like there's so much.
It's kind of like we've shifted to the point where now that feels like that's the majority, sadly.
Right.
Because you know how before it felt like that was the minority of the fandom, that like that racist, like dark side of it. I feel like sadly now it is at a point where like that is the majority, or at least that's the vocal majority of the fandom on social media. Yeah. Is the catty, the racist, the just like the really like shitty people.
And I think it is all because we've allowed it to go unchecked for so long, and because people like Rue, who had the voice and platform to do something, didn't say anything when she needed to. And it's like these people feel emboldened to share their unasked for disgusting opinions. Yeah. So like it did unfortunately really negatively affect Jeffrey throughout the season, and we don't see him return again. And I don't know if he'll even go back and do regular Drag Race, but this is, I feel like this is an important conversation to at least have within the Drag Race fandom, is to address that, because it's honestly really gross and unchecked, disgusting behavior.
Yeah.
Zeroing back into this season, Bobo was on, I don't remember if it was Delta's podcast or another show, where she was talking about how this season they filmed in like the middle of January during a snowstorm. So there was a blizzard, and I noticed it this time around watching it, is that in every Untucked, they're like wearing 2 blankets, like bundled up because it is fucking freezing in there. And Bobo was saying in particular that she was just really irritable. And then every day she was fucking freezing her butt off and was just like snapping at everyone. And I remember initially being like, why is Bobo freaking out? And now knowing that it was literally like tundra freezing levels.
Yeah, I feel like either side of it, like if it was like 40, 50 degrees, or if it was like 80, 90 degrees in that workroom, I would be insufferable.
Yeah.
Oh my God, if it was 80 degrees in that workroom
and you're in drag,
I would be terrible to everyone.
Yeah.
Like, I think I'm a nice, good person. I would be in a bad mood. I'm in a bad mood in that weather. Like, I feel like, yeah, I get it.
And then you're wearing a pound of makeup, tights, pads,
No
whatever.
sleep.
Yeah. Another club. Another club.
Another club.
Arctic winter.
Oh my God, and I have to do that thing for Nickelodeon tomorrow.
Get out. Okay, so per the usual, let's talk about the women.
The dolls.
The doll. You carried the doll. So coming into the workroom first up, and I would love your thoughts about her arc this season, is Prianka. What's her name? Prianka. She's first in and last out, which is kind of fascinating.
Period. Prianka, what's my name? Do you love me? Okay, she's so fascinating because, full transparency, when I watched the season in real time, I like didn't really like think much of her.
Same.
Like, first episode, like I didn't really think anything of her. Second episode, like I don't really think it caught on at me until the girl group episode. I was like, oh wait, okay, she's the main character. And then I started paying attention to her, and then I mean her friendship with Lemon, I think is a huge, like, I think it benefits both of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it was a huge, like, this is a one, well, okay, the power of like an organic relationship on Drag Race, like even platonically, like I feel like that was an example of just like a really cute friendship that benefited both of their trajectories on the show because it endears you to both of them. But yeah, I feel like at first she was on my radar, and then she was on my radar, and then she is like a main character, but almost like an underdog, because I feel like by the time you start noticing her, she also does start having some missteps.
So many.
Well, because like she's one of those queens, like for every good week, she has a bad week. Yeah. Like she has like, she'll knock it out of the park, and then she'll like kind of like fuck it up, and then she'll come back and she'll slay it again, and then she'll kind of miss it again. Yeah. Like she kind of has like a back and forth, but I mean, it's very entertaining to watch because even when she misses, her lip syncs are great.
So good. She delivers some of the best ones this season.
Yeah. So she really did like kind of tick a lot of the boxes of the season. And I think she was rewarded for that in a way that maybe the mainline season doesn't always acknowledge.
I would agree with that.
Because she's almost like a Jujubee. Where like
Jujubee lip sync like 3
or like
times.
An Alexis Mateo,
yeah,
huge presence all season, wins some challenges in the bottom as well, but like always just has a really strong presence, really likable,
right, charismatic, checked all the way.
Do you think if this was a RuPaul judge season, Rita would have won?
If this was a RuPaul season, I think Bobo would have won. Bobo was fashion down and was super avant-garde. Bobo was kind of giving that like 80s style drag that I think that sort of like edgy alternative thing that Rue grew up with. It's the same reason why Rue likes queens like Raven and Jujubee, because they do that. Jujubee is a little more on the pedestrian side, but they're a little edgier. Yeah. They're a little more of that old vibe. Same with Raja, you know. Raja's got that razor edge feel to her drag, and I feel like Bobo would have just annihilated this competition, because you look at some of the other queens and they're doing good, but a lot of their fashions just are not hitting. Yeah, where Bobo is hitting it every single week.
She definitely like knew like she had that Drag Race ready package for sure. She seemed the most studied of the group, I would say.
Definitely.
Like, the most ready to prepare like Drag Race level drag and like
Yeah.
be at that caliber, and she knew what that was and what that expectation was.
Right.
But yeah, anyways, back to Prianka.
Yeah. Prianka.
Yeah, I think she really like is one of those people that like snatches. I would say like because there are those people like Ginger Minge. When I watched season 7, I wasn't paying attention to Ginger, and then Glamazonian Airways. I mean, granted, that's the second episode, but first episode didn't think
she was
anything
not there.
of her, and then suddenly it's like, whoa, who is this? Like,
right.
Sometimes queens have that moment where they steal your attention. So I think in the girl groups, she like really solidified like, I'm here, I'm not going anywhere.
Right.
And then she just like kind of was in the spotlight from then on out.
I'm so nervous to talk about that girl group challenge because it's so fresh in my brain right now.
Eggplant Friday.
Oh my God. Okay. So yeah, I would agree with that. I think with Prianka in particular, she's got one of the worst winner track records across the board. Beyond, you might know exactly who I'm talking about. There's one girl in one of the international seasons who did not win a singular challenge.
Yes, in Italy.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I feel like being in the bottom is worse than being safe the whole time, but at least Prianka won. Yeah. So, like, that girl didn't win anything and won at the very end. Prianka has 2 bottom placements, a lot of lows, only 2 wins, I think, and kind of swooped in at the last second. I was not expecting her to win until, I'll be so real, when Lemon got eliminated, that's when I was like, oh, Priyanka's winning. Like, you know that there's those memes of like when we knew the winner won. I felt like it was between Lemon, Prianka, and Bobo. And as soon as Lemon was out, I'm like, oh, this is Priyanka's season. Yeah. Like she's got it.
I'll say this is one of those examples, and running ahead to the new season, Venus is another example of like they also reward beyond just the traditional things. Like I really feel like she also won because of her lip syncs, like because of that Celine Dion lip sync, like that contributed to her win. And like I just feel like stuff like that too. Like I feel like Canada, like they do kind of look at the big picture in a different way. Because I felt like they did that with Venus too. Is like they were looking at not just what she did in the exact challenges, but what she did everywhere and in everything. Yeah. And I think that is what endeared them more to her as well.
It still stings that Aurora didn't win though.
Ugh, yeah.
It still stings.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're moving into our next person in the workroom, which was Alona Verley, our Indigenous Two-Spirit contestant. I know that Alona's not very popular on social media or even among the girls, but like I liked Alona and I liked them again this time.
Okay, well her entrance very much like clarifies what kind of queen and girly she is.
she's like a Nira.
She's a talking to her phone social media little girl. And she's kind of annoying. Yeah. I think she knows that.
Yeah.
Canada has produced much messier and much more annoying people, so but I mean I don't Twitter. Well, sorry, I don't X. What is a tweet called an X?
I don't call it X. I don't like.
Oh, I saw your X. I re-X'd you.
It's so stupid. The hell is that? X. It sounds like a porn site. Which I mean, there's some really great porn on Twitter, but like
that's the only thing we use Twitter for now.
I mean, what else would you need to go on Twitter for besides to look up some?
Twitter's the new Tumblr.
Yeah.
Wow.
It really is. Tumblr used to be the good shit for that.
Yeah, I don't keep up with Alona on social media, so I don't know what kind of havoc she wrecks. But
she's mostly into sex work now.
Period.
I love that for her.
I think it's great that they had a Two-Spirit queen, an Indigenous queen, the first season, because I feel like that is a wonderful sect of Canada, specifically, and a really great part of the community that we get to explore through that franchise. And like with the most recent season, how they say the LGBTQIA2S community, I think is what they say. So like, it's just, I think it's really interesting that like there's this country that, I mean, borders us, so close to us, and they have this entire other sect of the queer community. Of course, that relates to like their cultural and Indigenous background, but I think it's just so cool that we do get to see a little bit of that, you know, as an American who didn't know anything about it before watching Canada's Drag Race. I just think it's so cool to be exposed to more queerness and historic queerness and like how it's recognized and perceived in another culture is honestly one of my favorite parts of Drag Race Canada. Is like the 2S culture highlights we've seen, and like Alona, like whatever you say about her, she did a really cool job of highlighting it, even in a way where you wouldn't expect it with the kind of drag she brings. Like there's still so much reverence and so much like beautiful execution, like jumping ahead to her finale look and stuff like that. Like you have to recognize.
Canada is a really special place for a lot of different reasons, but you look at this particular sect of Drag Race and they are doing something that Rue and that production team would never do, and that's give so much space to people. And that is something that we've complained about before, is that they don't create enough spaces for some of the contestants. And Canada created a space where they can come as they are, share their stories, and it doesn't come across that they're creating like television moments. It comes across like they are creating inclusivity.
Yes.
You know? That's what they're actively working towards, which is what I liked about Thailand as well. Is that Thailand is trying to put diversity as the first foot out. And I think that's fascinating.
And well, it's an interesting perspective, because all of them have the idea of like they know straight people are watching. And Drag Race US kind of just like it's weird because they used to pander to gays so much, but now it kind of panders to straight people. And it like kind of just like dumps things down for the straights. But I feel like other franchises, like other international ones, are like, okay, so for the straights watching, this is what this means, and takes it more as like an educational moment. I mean, there are educational moments in the US ones too.
Just not as much.
Not as much, yeah. I feel like it's just like they do it in a way where it doesn't like put a halt to anything. Like it just like is very natural. And it's just like, oh, this is what this is. And like just very casually like explaining and like keeping it like just part of like keeping space for it in the room and in how they're navigating their conversations and everything. But yeah, they just do it so well, like compared to the US season. I don't know how to put it, but
it's just better. They're not trying to, like you said, dumb something down for the sake of its viewers. It just says, this is the conversation that we're having. And if you are along for the ride, then you'll learn. But if you're not paying attention, you'll miss out. And I think that is really beautiful about Canada's Drag Race. Next up is someone who, as soon as she walked in, I was like, who is this? Kiara is next in.
Oh my gosh. She's kind of like a forgotten gem of the season. Because she's pretty fun this season. She reminds me of like, just in terms of vibe, not in drag or anything, but she kind of reminds me of like Kenya Michaels or someone like that kind of queen where like, or like a Lanacia Sparks where like they come in and they're just like there to have a good time and like they don't last long. And but I don't know. I mean Kiki Wanakaikai, memorable.
Like Kiara is one of those where her drag is good. It just wasn't tailored to what Drag Race requires of you. And her personality, I don't think, shone through the camera enough.
There's a bit of
like a resistance to let the camera like see her. There are some characters that come into Drag Race that they see the cameras and they sort of recoil. And then there are some people that see the cameras and then they amp themselves up. And Kiara was one of those through the whole season where I just saw her like wither away anytime she was being looked at.
I want to say she was a baby queen, but I feel like she might have been a little baby queenish in that regard.
Perhaps.
Because I feel like also, like, I could imagine if you're not, like, I don't know. The longer you do something, I think the more you're also used to, like, doing unfamiliar things in the, like, how do I describe it? Like, when you're first at your job, like, everything kind of throws you off. But once you're really comfortable at your job, new challenges, you're like, whatever. I feel like that
happen.
I've never done drag, but I feel like that can be the same in drag. Whereas, like, if your drag is 100% figured out and then something like tries to throw you off, it's kind of like, whatever. But I feel like if you're still growing and developing, and then there are these new challenges and environments and spaces that you're not familiar with, I feel like that very much throws everything off kilter.
Yeah, definitely. I can say for myself, like in my first couple years, if I went into a new club that I'd never seen, I sort of like just recoiled into a corner and waited for my number, and then I'd go out and do it and then hide again. Where like by my last year or two, right before COVID, I was so just comfortable. I could walk into any space and just like know that I was that bitch. Didn't matter. And I just walked in with confidence. So maybe that was another thing too. But from my understanding, Canada doesn't have like millions of spaces for people to perform. And I think even now, girls that get off of it, just because they were on the show, doesn't guarantee anything.
And she was a French Canadian queen as well, I believe, right? So that's an even smaller sect.
Yeah.
She's a Quebec queen. So she's like in Rita's, because I remember Rita booked her and stuff.
Yeah.
But like that's an even smaller pool of booking and of drag and of what you're doing.
Right.
So, I mean, yeah.
Kudos to you for spilling Mama on that.
But I love her. I think she's a lot of fun.
She's
this
beautiful.
season. Yeah.
I just totally forgot her till I saw her.
Wow.
I'm so sorry.
Mistress Isabel Brooks, like, hands over the mouth. Oh my god.
Next up, that walks in the workroom is Juicebox, who's a streamer now.
Yes. I've watched a Juicebox streamer
Yeah,
too.
me too. The Juicebox is really cool.
Wait, I think
Our
they
pork chop
followed
queen.
me.
Did
I think they used to follow me.
Back when you were streaming still?
Back in my streaming era.
Nah.
I should get back into it for Juice.
You should.
I'll do it
just
for you, Juice.
Yeah.
My first
do
stream
it.
back, I'll at her. At her in my stream title.
Juice is really cool. I don't think they really made much of an impact on the show because they were only there for 40 minutes, you know? I mean, what kind of impact can you have? But Juice is a really, really, really cool person off the show.
When you were talking about that blizzard, she was the first person I thought of because she's naked this entire episode.
Oh my God, you're right.
She comes in like bra and panties, wings.
Yeah.
And it's so cold. And then later in the episode, the outfit she makes is tiny as well. She was like in the skimpiest little outfits in the middle of a blizzard. Bless her.
Titties out in the snow, ready for the flu shot line.
Bless. Honestly though, her presence in this episode is iconic. From the beginning, I'm stuck. Getting
stuck on the tights.
So good.
Yeah.
And then falling during the mini challenge.
Holy shit.
Like she just like she did a great job at just like being a fun. Like you were sad when she got eliminated because
very much so.
She oh my god, do you know what her first episode vibe was like?
Tell me.
Your queen, CC Superstar.
Stop! You're right.
The hitting the head on the lamp, the boob coming out, falling off the couch, like
God damn, I love CC so
it's totally
much.
that same vibe though. No,
Holy shit, you're
like
right.
just like kind of just being a little clown, like.
God damn, I love CC Superstar so much. She was so messy. That'll do.
That'll do. Oh, we love it. We love it. CC, I know you're listening. We love you, girl.
God damn, I love CC Superstar. Next up into the workroom, another queen that I kind of forgot about, Anastasia Anakwe.
Starzy.
She was beautiful, and she kind of seemed to be a big deal in Canada. So I was surprised that her star power didn't translate to the show. I feel like this happens sometimes where like big deals in the community, we saw this happen with Nina, was not able to take that spark that made her big outside of it into Drag Race. And had Nina gotten the chop earlier, she would have gotten an Anastasia type of run.
Yeah.
Rue, I feel like, was willing to give her a little bit of a shot, where like Anastasia kind of used up all her lifelines because she just seemed like gone by that last episode. Totally checked out.
I wonder if she felt like she could see they weren't featuring her, because I will say her sewn look, she kind of ate that.
Oh yeah,
that puffer like coat she made
right
was really impressive.
There was rampages about why she was not in the top that week.
Yeah. And
I remember
and
social
people
media.
like potato titties were sorry. So,
Okay, but I loved what Boa made. I'm
oh
sorry. I'm
God.
sorry. We can talk about that in a minute. But yeah, Anastasia just she kind of didn't really leave much of an impact either, unfortunately. And then she wasn't super present in her confessionals. I'm sure she's a lovely gal. She seems to be big in like the nightclubs, like booking the girls. So like it was I wanted to more from her. I wanted
Yeah.
more of that star power, and I was sad we didn't get it.
I feel that.
Next in the workroom is Queen, Mother, Icon, Rapstress Supreme Lemon.
Motherfucking Rapstress. Great entrance look, too.
So
That
good.
huge lemon coat.
Lemon had a really interesting storyline this season because a lot of her story was about how she was broke as fuck. How she lives in New York, but she had to do all this stuff on her own. So coming into Drag Race, she didn't even have makeup to come into the competition with. So like looking at her from that lens, I feel like we as an audience can be more sympathetic towards some of her runways, like the Celine one, where it was not as good because we're like, oh, but this girl doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
But she was so charismatic and so charming in the confessionals. And it makes me wonder how much Brooke and Jeffrey and Stacy were like watching those pieces, because like Rue does.
Yeah.
Rue goes and watches all the confessionals and gets the little bugs and has the producers telling her everything that's going on, so she's got a great picture of what's going on in behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And I wonder how much Brooke was paying attention to that, because like Lemon just had that star thing,
Totally.
you know, just from the get. Do you live for Lemon? Do you live for the doll?
I do. I live for the doll. She's definitely one of my favorites as I was watching the season. And post show has just always been a delight. She's just so fun. And like, she's one of the girlies where like, I feel like you also feel a little like she's like an audience proxy, like a little like an Adore or like someone like that, where you do feel a little bit like, because she's so like, she's fun and she's there to have a good time, but like also she like seems like she's one of the girls, like she seems like she's like a girly, and so I feel like that gives you like a little like relatability and like closeness to them,
right?
in a way.
I loved her confessional look so much.
Oh yeah,
her confessional look was everything. I think about her rap and coming on through, trying to find my pussy pics on Reddit, and then
iconic.
Her special in Let Loose. Have you heard
oh
her?
My god, the Let Loose remix. Yeah. She really is that girl. She's the Megan Thee Stallion of Drag Race.
You're so right. And you should say it. She really is like, of the girls who say they quote unquote rap, Lemon delivers every time.
Well, because okay, there's always a debate of who's like singers in the Drag Race world, but I feel like she is definitely someone in the Drag Race world who can actually rap. I feel like her, Bob the Drag Queen, Shea Coulee.
Yes, definitely. Especially Shea. Shea is so underrated as musical talent.
Yeah.
I feel like people look past her quite a bit. Next in the workroom is Scarlet Bobo.
Queen.
Thoughts?
I really like her. She's super fun, super punk. Can I say this? I think she is like... if the princess slayed.
Yes! Stop! Wait, why are you truing right now, though?
Because, like, I feel like there's such, like, a kinship in their vibes and their energy. But and, like, that style of drag, like, that corner of drag. But I feel like Scarlet is such a great execution of that.
Holy shit.
Like soft, pretty, like punk, but also still such a hard edge.
If the princess slayed, sorry, I'm here, I'm listening.
Like very queer, very punk, but also like very aware of like the Drag Race package and aesthetic, and like also just like I think that also just stems back to a reference to pageant structures of drag, like old school structures of drag. Like I feel like she recognizes like all of the styles and knows how to put the best into what she does. She definitely seems like one of the most like seasoned of the cast, I would say, like of the professionals. I feel like it's like her, Rita, Jimbo. Jimbo obviously has their own way about them, but you can tell that they've been doing what they've been doing for a long time. But I feel like she's one of the few in the group who don't, because a lot of them are really young queens.
Yeah, so many of them.
But like, and not that Scarlet's old, like she's young too, but you can tell that she's been working and she really knows her drag and she really knows she knows how this works, especially with like how drag is out there. Like she's one of those girls out there in Toronto that does like 8 numbers a night. Like doing drag triathlons out there.
Doing the most for the same paycheck.
Yeah.
Bobo's one of those queens that could be dropped immediately into any international season, in my opinion, and thrive. Like a Rue hosted international. I think Rue would just get that drag so quickly. Something that impressed me week after week was that Bobo was constantly changing her makeup.
Yes.
The looks were always different and unique, and she's not someone who's afraid of color.
No.
A lot of girls are really afraid to like do a purple lip with a green hair and some type of like smudged fallout eye. But Bobo did it.
And she's
like
so animated too.
Yeah.
Like she's such a character in drag too that it works.
she almost looks like a cartoon. Like the way that her eyes are just so big and expressive all the time.
And those like lips and
God, the pump. It was she had good work, I will say.
She did. Gotta cut ahead like all the way to the end of the season. Her finale lip sync is freaking crazy. That lip sync is so crazy, and it's probably the hardest anyone's gone in on a finale lip sync. I will say
that's why I thought she was gonna win.
That backslide across the entire runway is like so crazy.
That kick where she like kicks her foot up and then hits her hand. Insanity.
Brooke tried to copy a couple of the moves she did.
Really?
Yeah, that back bend slide where she like, you know what I'm talking about? It's the death drop, but she slides from one end of the runway to the other.
Yeah.
Brooke does that in the lip sync against Raja in All Stars. When you get to it in 6, watch for it.
Really?
Yeah, she does that exact move where she tries to do. She doesn't do it as good as. Because she has.
Oh yes, the Janet Jackson song, right?
Yeah, Miss You Much, because Bobo has like a catsuit down to her feet. Like I think it's all one piece. I think it created a lot more slide for her.
Yeah,
because I think Brooke's just in a bodysuit, so she didn't get as much sliding in. But she tries to do the same move. I can only imagine that Scarlet inspired her.
Oh, it had to have been. That was such a good lip sync. Next in the room was someone that I was really excited to see was Kyne. I had been following Kyne before she had got on the show. I was following her YouTube. And they actually made like a really big deal about social media this time. Where Drag Race traditionally has sort of been like, oh, you're just a social media queen. Like, what big deal are you? And a lot of the girls were like comparing their follower count. And Kyne said that she's taught 100,000 people how to do drag. And that's like her entrance thing, which is a little bit of like a high nose, highbrow thing.
Yeah.
But it was so kind of cunty to be like, I'm it. And then Brooke to be like, you're second out.
Right. Well, it's funny, yeah, because she came in so like, I'm better than you. I know what I'm doing. I'm going to let you have it. Which, I mean, from someone so young is kind of hilarious. I mean, Serena Cha-Cha energy.
Very that.
But love it. But did they mention TikTok or only YouTube with her?
TikTok wasn't out at this time, I don't think.
I'm trying, that's what I'm watching for, because I feel like Amethyst is like one of the first people I thought of that mentioned TikTok. I'm trying to think, when did it make wave?
TikTok, I think, is only 3 or 4 years old now. So it would have come out sometime around, I think, 13. Maybe it would have been right after it came out. Because I think one of the 14 girls talks about TikTok.
Is it still Musically at this point?
Yeah, I think it might just be like dances.
Or are we still
covers.
in Vine? I wonder if we're in Vine. No, I don't know.
No, I think Vine has already been dead for a while now, hasn't it been?
So.
We're mostly transitioning into like the Instagram queens and the YouTube queens. This is like the really big boom of both of those sources of media.
I remember, I think 7's the first season that mentioned Instagram, because Naomi said she follows Kimchi. I think they say Instagram. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I know 10 shows Instagram because they show the feeds of Cracker. So it's like, it's just interesting to see like the evolution, because I also feel like talking about social media is kind of breaking the fourth wall in a way, because like I don't know, you're acknowledging the world outside of Drag Race, and like you're like, yeah, I don't know, the social media, like the reach of like your drag and everything. I feel like it does clue you into like the world, the scope of Drag Race in a way that old school Drag Race didn't.
Right. They tried to be very pocket universe.
Yeah. So talking about like social media and like their scope and like their reach and everything, it's an interesting like conversation to see develop, and you see them be more open in talking about it, I would say.
Yeah. Kind was an interesting one and kind of had a bad run. Jumping ahead really quick, I forgot about the golden balls all over the runway.
Oh my God.
And during the deliberation, kind like uncuntily having to scoop them all up. Yep. Remember we were talking about picking up shit from the runway and how there's no fierce way to like bend over and pick things up, and kind just like picking up all these balls, and then her, more like, falling off,
trying to pick them up.
I cackled. Like, I inhumanely, like, I'm laughing at, I don't know, a panda falling out of a tree. Cackled at this moment where she's, like, picking up these balls and then more drop off of her and she's still picking them up. And I'm like, God, what a terrible representation of what you do on the show after she had been so high-nosed the whole time. But I mean, Kind is fierce. She does a lot of math videos now.
I was going to say, isn't she a math girl?
She's a math girl.
She does math.
Yeah. She'll be like, here's how to calculate how the world is spinning and how fast it goes at this axis. Here's how you can measure the distance of a parallelogram. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, who's got time for math?
Isn't it crazy that some people want that?
That's their goal in life.
Not to be mathist, but...
I wish you would be.
It's like, isn't it wild how some people crave that?
That's their order in the world. Meanwhile, I'm just trying to like figure out when I can have pizza next.
I'm just trying to figure out, like, can I set up an IRA? Like an individual retirement fund? An IRF? Like...
An IRA?
I don't even know what it's called. I'm trying to worry about the future, Mama.
401k.
I can't do world axis math or whatever. My coworker was like, they were trying to figure something out. They're like, can you do math? I was like, are there letters in it? If there are letters, I check out.
As soon as I see those letters.
My rule. Numbers only. Numbers only,
and
Mama.
Percentages I can't do.
Yeah, numbers only. No symbols. Like, you don't put like no decimal, no period, none of that. Give me numbers. I'll take a plus, a minus. You can give me an X. I'll take an X.
On a really good mental health day, I can maybe do a divisible. Maybe.
Yeah, I can do division like when I'm brain capacity 100. Yeah. But like other than that, basic arithmetic, Mama.
Right.
Nothing else.
Nothing more.
Sorry, Kind. I'm not.
I know you're listening.
I know I'm a disappointment to you.
But yeah, some people crave that. I don't understand. Next in the workroom is bitch on arrival, Boa. She came in as a cow, and they were gagged.
Oh my God, they're freaking out over her. Mm-hmm. It was like she killed someone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, her Snatch Game character killed someone. Okay, so my thoughts on Boa, watching it over again, is that Boa was so interesting and was like almost a little too amped up the whole time. We've been comparing a lot of these girls to Five Queens. I feel like Boa was a Jade Jolie type.
Oh no.
You know, like someone who would just, their point of view in drag is very specific and kind of camp and a little weird.
Yeah.
And then they're just giving way too much to the camera too often. They're like at 110 constantly.
Definitely.
It's interesting, but it stresses me out. But I like it. But I'm also stressed.
Yeah, she's a lot. But she's fun. I mean, it's interesting because I don't know if you even have like a point of view totally locked down with her yet. Yeah. Because she's just crazy.
Her point of view is always changing.
Yeah. It's just kind of like loud, fun, crazy.
Jade Jolie. Wow. It's literally Jade Jolie. I mean, is she not though? In Five. Not. I mean, I guess in Dragula she was still kind of a little bit like that. Any thoughts about Boa? Are you ready to
Um,
move on?
no, it's funny because they make such like a big deal about her.
Yeah.
Like they act like she's like a criminal or something. Like, I can't believe she's here. I
I almost
swear.
spit. Not a criminal.
But she's interesting. I think she also just has an interesting like vibe because it feels like the judges were really into her, and then she got eliminated, and it was like it seemed like they were so over her.
Yeah.
Like by the time she went home, it seemed like
They were
like,
tired of it.
Yeah, it was that quick switch. I think I talked about before. There's suddenly like those queens where it's like they love them, they're getting all these positive critiques, and then it's like we don't want to play with you anymore. You're annoying.
Right.
The thing we've loved you for like has gotten old. We're sick of it.
Yeah.
I feel like that happened with her because I feel like they suddenly just like didn't like her anymore, and then like she was out.
Yeah, those first couple of weeks, they seemed totally into her. And yeah, just that I don't want to play with you anymore. Next in the workroom is our top three, our last top three-er. Rita Baga, she came in saying bonjour hi. I forgot that she originated bonjour hi.
Wow.
Yeah, her first words are bonjour hi. Bonjour hi. So good. I love Bonjour Hi is one of the best opener songs in the Drag Race franchise.
That was a
of all
bop.
time. It was a bop.
Rita Baga is fascinating because she's very pervasive in the Drag Race universe, but I feel like not a fan favorite and like not much of a big splash in the way that the other ones are.
Right.
Like she hosts a franchise, she's been on a Versus the World, made it to top 3 on both seasons that she was on.
She's like a national hero in Quebec. I almost said Toronto. I was about to piss off all the Moose people.
But she definitely just like hasn't clicked with the US audience, which is so
No.
fascinating.
Rita is a fascinating character on the show. She has a very focused lens of what her drag looks like, how she's going to translate that. She's super versatile. She seems very welcoming and open and caring and congenial. And I don't know what it is that she just does not connect with eagle people, freedom people.
Americans.
Yeah.
She's too nice.
Maybe.
Humble.
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe she does not do that bitey cutthroat thing that they like to see here. Because she is very congenial.
Yeah.
I mean, she's the one who let those two girls look at her paperwork, right? While they were on break and was like, I'm going to give you one more shot.
Oh,
Didn't
that was
she?
on Belgium, wasn't it? Wow.
And she said, I'm going to give you one shot, but don't ever do it again or you're fired. Like, she just seems like someone who's just way too nice for her own good.
I wonder how she is as a host.
I'm excited to watch that season purely just to see what it's about, but I've not ever seen it.
Well, because it's interesting because, like, there's the rumors that Brooke was on 11 with the intention of hosting Canada, and Nikki was on 12 with the intention of hosting France. But, like, with Mexico, I think Valentina and Lolita were just like the best choices of the pool they had. And then with Belgium, I feel like same with Rita, like I don't think she got on Canada all these years ago with the intention of like 5 years later, almost like being a host of Canada or of Belgium. So
Right.
it's interesting that she just was chosen for that. So I'm curious to see her in a hosting position, and like maybe that will also endear me to her more.
Yeah. Like
seeing her in a different role, but yeah, and like I don't dislike her either. That's the thing. It's just like she again like just hasn't clicked with me. Like I can't really like remember much of like her like quotes or like quirks of the season. I remember she likes hot dogs.
She is like the epitome of a final threer who just is like not doing bad, but also isn't like spectacular, but they somehow made it to the end because everybody else was kind of worse, in my opinion. Because like there are times where like Rita skated through a challenge because there were just like 6 other worse people than her.
Yeah.
Like there were almost all the design challenges. She only skated through because Jimbo is the worst lip syncer in the world.
Oh,
like there's no one worse at lip syncing in the Drag Race franchise than Jimbo. Not one.
True.
If you can find one, I would love to know.
Send her my way.
Maybe Charlie. I think Charlie could beat her.
I would like to see a Lollapalooza with like Jimbo, Charlie, Sugar and Spice. A couple of the international girls
Not
we'll
Sugar
get
and
to.
Spice.
No, I feel like they'd be so. Are you kidding? Could you imagine?
It would be chaos. That would be the worst set of lip syncs. They could do the hokey pokey, and they would still lose.
Jimbo versus Spice, and the song is.
Call Me Maybe.
You know, if you get a Carly song, it's either going to be a train wreck or a sleigh.
Yeah.
Should it be something that should be Julian?
Oh my god, Julian's a great song. They would, but Jimbo would do that thing. She grabs her hair when she lip syncs. She grabs both sides of her hair and she swishes. Why does she do that? Jimbo is such a confusing
sexy.
lip syncer. Speaking of which, she is the next in the room, and she looks just a mess. But that
This,
black
like-
and white was so fascinating.
This like demon Mickey Mouse song? What is this? It's like black and white little orphan Mickey Mouse.
Oh wow! Wow!
Like what is it?
Oh wow! I mean, Jimbo describes herself as a clown, and you can see that again and again. Is just like the only drive that Jimbo has is to make people laugh.
Yeah.
No matter what that is. And I'll be the first one to say, I don't giggle at a lot of what Jimbo does. Like, I think a lot of it's just, like, far beyond my intelligence. Like, not that it's, like, more intelligent than me. And not that it's stupid well, I guess I'm saying it's stupider. I think it's just stupider than what I can
It doesn't.
connect with.
Yeah, it doesn't speak to like your brain level.
It's
well,
why
that sounds.
I mean, it's why I don't like Dora the Explorer. You know, it's like it's made for people that are of a certain intelligence level. You know,
Drag Jimbo fans.
this is why I've never liked Larry the Cable Guy. Like, there's just certain like.
Ooh, okay.
I'm so sorry. I'm going too far.
Are you saying that Jimbo's like the Adam Sandler of?
Jimbo's the gay Adam Sandler? Jimbo is the gay Will Ferrell. That's probably more apt. Jimbo's the gay Will Ferrell because people that love Will Ferrell love him.
Yeah.
But like that humor is made for a very specific baseline, and this is the thing that Rue talks about all the time with pandering to Bear and Bob and Betty Beer Can, whoever.
What are you saying?
I don't know.
I have
the mind, like the mastermind of a mind of a master.
I just have
Bob and Betty Beer Can.
Stop it. You're cursing me. You're hexing me. I won't let you.
It's because I'm Latina. It's like that, just the baseline human being, you know. If we're looking at a bell curve of people, most people are going to fall under a certain level of humor comprehension, right? And so Jimbo appeals to that group of people because there are more of them. And so it's people that giggle at clown stuff. But then there's always that person at the circus who's looking at the clown like, why the fuck is this funny? Why are you all laughing? The Three Stooges. That type of humor, you know? Like, there's going to be people who find that fucking hilarious. Or, like, America's Funniest Home Videos where, like, kids are running into walls and then they're, like, cackling because it's so funny that this kid got hurt. And there's someone who's, like, in the room who's looking and, like, that's not funny. What am I missing? That's how I feel about Jimbo. Sorry, I didn't mean to drag her.
Was that show called Ridiculousness?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She's drag ridiculousness.
Yeah, half of our listeners just tuned out because they shot on Jimbo. What are your thoughts?
Me wearing a Jimbo t-shirt right now.
In a clown wig.
Yeah, giant tits. Huge latex breastplate. The kind you have to put on like a t-shirt up to the neck. No, I mean, I would say in general, I appreciate anyone who is like that kind of like a Tammy Brown who like nothing is serious, everything is a joke, and like they're I mean, Jimbo's a bit more of a real person.
Right.
Especially more in All Stars 8, you see it.
Yeah.
And I feel like in season 1, they are a bit more of like just kind of like detached. It almost feels like to me like they're on a job. It's like how it
Very
feels.
much so,
like,
yeah.
They're like when they're out of drag, it's their moments where they're just like out of their clown makeup talking to you, but like they're like still like on a job, like, oh, I'm gonna be back in my
I'm working.
I'm gonna be back in my costume soon,
Right.
like doing my thing. Like I kind of get that vibe from Jimbo in this season, whereas I feel like you are seeing the more like human like person interacting with people where there's more stakes in All Stars 8. But I appreciate anyone who's just there to make like people laugh and like just there to be like comedy relief, and doesn't take themselves too seriously.
Sure.
And it's a good like ego refresher in the Drag Race room. Like if you have some like more like uppity or like big egos, and then you have someone like that who's like is so self-deprecating and so stupid.
Right.
I feel like it is like a nice curveball, especially when you have some of the people who are so like in that room that are so like aesthetic oriented, and I feel like it's entertaining to watch someone throw everyone off so much. Especially because I feel like some of them did not even like. Is she a contestant?
Yeah.
Because that is the fun of her in this season. In the first like couple episodes, is like, I mean, curse, but it's kind of the Sharon feeling of like, is she for real? Like,
Yeah.
is this like a prank contestant?
Is this a joke?
And I mean, even like her actions through the couple episodes do feel surreal.
Yeah.
But in the first season especially, she is a surreal character. Like, I think her best stretch is probably like the talent show to like when she gets eliminated, like the makeover and everything, like because that is like the Jimbo that I think people like really like is like the big titted like dummy, and I feel like that's like when she's in like her sweet spot, because the first half she's definitely clown down,
Yeah.
clown town.
Watching it again, I really remember how much I liked this Jimbo.
Yeah,
I did not really like Jimbo in Versus the World or All Stars.
yeah,
Because it felt very like Rue pandering. Like, oh, Rue likes this stupid idiot character. So I'm going to do that until Rue gives me the crown.
I have no problem with Jimbo, but can I speak my truth?
I wish you would.
You can sew, but like there are people who have really minimal sewing and crafting experience, and I think they can make really chic looking things. I think Jimbo's sewing expertise is not in a fashion like Drag Race avenue.
Oh.
Like I just like I've not liked anything she's made on that show. It's all been so vile to me. Because like to me she is a costume maker,
Yeah.
and like I don't think that her mind is made to create garments that are fashion. And like yeah, because I feel like she gets a lot of credit for being a seamstress, and that's a lot of like her season 1 arc, but I feel like the ball really speaks to like her taste level. That's my only unpopular opinion is like I feel like actually low key, I guess is the point I'm trying to make, is being a good seamstress doesn't mean as much as you think it does on Drag Race, because a lot of people are good at sewing. Like you are good at a sewing machine, you can sit there and like churn out really impressive stuff, and like the thing she did was really impressive, like the zipper dress, but it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you made that, but like I don't want to wear that. Like it's one of those things that like you put it like in a like on a mannequin at a museum and be like, this is a dress made entirely of zippers, isn't that interesting? Like that's the kind of way I feel about it. That was a long-winded point to say that.
Do you feel that way about her, like, Versus the World and All Stars package too? Or just this one for Canada?
Just this one, because her season 1 package is incredibly crafty. And it feels very a lot of it handmade. And not all of it. But like, her denim look is super impressive. But I'm just talking about, like, the queen look she did. Is that the zipper look? No, episode 1 is the zipper look, right?
I think so.
The zipper look she made, the queen look she did, like those sewing challenges looks are really rough to me.
And then the ice one too.
And the ice one, yeah. So that's the point, is like, yes, she's a great seamstress. She's in the top for the first 2 episodes, but it's like, it's an impressive garment, but it's not a pretty garment. Like Mo Hart's card thing.
Oh, yeah.
Is both impressive construction wise because it's made of cards, but it's also really sick and really pretty.
Right.
That's all.
That's all. One of my favorite moments in this season from Jimbo is when the veneer starts to break, and she's sitting with Rita and says, "Your wig line looks like barf. You look like an old lady dunked her head in the toilet," and just is like popping off for no reason after she had just said that Jeffrey needed to study the English language, and then freaking Rita just is like, well, do you want some constructive critiques? And Jimbo's like, yeah, please. I want to know what the rest of you think. Rita tells her, and then she just fucking attacks her, and then realizes very quickly what she's done and stops. And I love that part of Jimbo. I love that human side. It's the rest that I don't connect with, and I wish that I could see some of that raw thing. There's a lot of the girls that come through the show that Rue tells, like, the audience wants your vulnerability, and I don't want that from a lot of them. Like, a lot of them, I just want them to give me their character, you know, like I think like Trixie. I want Trixie Mattel's character because it's funny, it's interesting. I do like her vulnerable raw side too, but the side that I connect to the most is that where, like, Jimbo's produced character, I want to see those cracks. I want to see who's underneath it because it is so put on and grand. In the same way that I feel about Jinx. Jinx is one of those who puts on a really huge character, but then there's all of these little squishy bits in between it that I love, you know?
Do you know what I will say about Jimbo, though? I still always quote, "It's my special day."
It's my special day!
She really snapped with that.
I'm excited to talk about that when we eventually get there.
Yeah.
Last up in the room is Tainomi Banks, who I wrote hot, because she was hot in drag.
Hot. She a queen.
Queen.
I love me some Tainomi. Well, and she's interesting because she came in also a big deal.
Yeah.
Like Anastasia. She's like a big presence in the room. She's kind of like a Beyonce.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you know who she reminds me of in terms of like vibe? It's kind of like Caramel, where it's like they are a big deal. You know they're a big deal, but they're not hitting the marks like a big deal should.
Yeah.
No disrespect to either of them because they're both fierce.
Tainomi's the blueprint for Caramel.
Yeah. And as well as things where it doesn't speak to their drag as much as just like certain queens who are amazing drag queens aren't good at Drag Race.
Right. That's so frequent.
Although, to be fair, I don't even think she deserved to go home when she did. And I also just think some of her critiques were harsher on her.
They were really harsh on Tainomi.
It felt like they knew how big of a... She was who I was forgetting when I was talking about the professionals in the room. Like, because there's like Scarlet, Anastasia, her, like those are like really some of the titans in the room,
right?
Professionally, I feel like they were harder on her.
Very much so. We have some time to finish just this first challenge.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, this is a breakthrough episode. This is the first impression we're getting of what Canada's gonna look like.
Yeah.
In my first note, I wrote that I miss Stacy because she's everything. Oh. But the very first mini challenge is this photo challenge where they have to climb a mountain. Yes. So they're incorporating all this nonsense of like physical stuff with the wind machine and the snow and make them pose at the top. What did you think of this crazy ass mini challenge for the first impression of Canada?
See, it was funny because it had like two parts. Like there's almost like play to the judges is part one,
right?
And then like actual challenge, because the entire climbing of the mountain is like. At first I was like, why do they have to do this? And then I saw like how people like Lemon did it and people like Jimbo did it. I'm like, oh, like this is an opportunity to like be funny and do yourself, like
right.
Make like really ham up this moment. So I feel like that was like almost a little challenge in and of itself. Is like, how do you climb the mountain? Are you going to make jokes out of it? are you just gonna like silently like get up there like it's just like a ladder, like
Right.
and then yeah, when they got to the top, I mean, first of all, the three judge, I love that it's all three of them there. And that is what I appreciate about the power dynamic of the first season. And I mean, they actually continued it. Because, like, in the first season, I think it makes sense that it isn't just Brooke alone because she isn't the established solo judge yet.
Right.
So having all three judges there for the things, like, it feels... Because, you know, they're making all the decisions unanimously at the end. It makes sense, but I like that they've kind of kept that. Even with the recent seasons, like you'll see all three of them show up to look at like the first episode,
the first impression ball.
Like, I love that they've kept that.
Yeah,
and that but especially in this season, they really move as a unit. The three judges,
right?
It's really fun to watch them just like sitting in the corner, like laughing and reacting, and like grabbing each other and stuff like that. I really enjoy their little like
their dynamic is nice.
Yeah, it's very cute. And I will say, I feel like the three of them do have a different dynamic than Tracy and Brad have. The three of them, I feel like the new dynamic is a lot more like kind of like professional. But yeah, I feel like the three of them in this first episode especially, they're so cute, and like I feel like you're just watching them have like a lot of fun together.
Yeah, they have this kinship of like, we're just excited that we get to pioneer this for Canada, and we're just gonna enjoy what we've got because we don't know how long it's gonna last.
Yeah. And then, like, when Jimbo got up there, like, them grabbing each other, like, what is happening? What is happening? Like, it's just, like, it's fun to see them, like, reacting to it, like, in that way. And it feels a lot more genuine than, like, when RuPaul will be reacting or something.
Because Ru's trying to do canned bits.
Yeah.
So often. And then, after they finish this absolutely batshit challenge, we find out that the very first challenge is a design challenge. And the trend for mainline Drag Race has been songs. Get to know us. Get to know you through song. What do you think about a design challenge as the first thing? Because I live
very old school Drag Race. I don't know. I don't think it's technically the best way to introduce a queen, but
by making them look ugly.
But it's what I associate with Drag Race, because that is forever going to be the OG Drag Race. Is like, you come in and it's a sewing challenge,
right?
And you come in, it's a mini shoot, a photo shoot mini challenge, and then a sewing maxi challenge. Like, that is like the classic Drag Race formula that they kept until what, 9, 10? Because, like, the Nude Illusion was a bit of a tweak on it, whatever. But
it would have been 9, because 9 was that, the Gaga ball.
The ball, yeah.
8 was the photo challenge with the winners, and then they did the old look. So 8 was the last one. Was that when they took over, when VH1 took over?
Yeah.
At 9?
9.
Yeah, that would have been it.
Single-digit logo girls, as Naomi puts it.
10 did the dance challenge and then the design, and then 11 did photos with the past contestants.
Oh, yeah. So, like, I just feel like that is OG Drag Race.
Right.
And I feel like the sewing challenges have kind of been dumbed down in recent years, which, like, I get it. But I do think that you can see a queen's point of view in what they design for themselves, especially if they don't know how to make something for themselves. I feel like you're seeing them try and, like, paint a picture without knowing what, materials they're using.
Very good. Yeah.
Especially like in the earlier seasons, like even when they were like using curtains or whatever, I feel like you were still getting a vibe for like, this queen does this kind of drag and stuff. Like,
right.
I don't know, maybe it's just harder to do that now, or maybe they had more clearly defined characters back then. But yeah, I love those good old the photo shoot, sewing challenge, double feature. That's where it's
good
at.
Classic format.
This one is the box style.
I hate boxes.
Yeah. Okay, and also this one's hard because I don't understand any of them. They're all references to Canadian. Well, okay, it's double hard because they're all references to Canada culture, but they're all puns. So you don't even like Man of Green Gables and stuff.
Right.
It's like, okay, so this is already a pun of something that is a reference. So
Right.
I'm double like lost.
I know of Anne of Green Gables, but only a name. I don't know what
Yeah.
anything else is about it.
Yeah.
But like, Boa got potatoes in her box. Potatoes. What the fuck do you do with a potato?
Yeah, and that's the other thing that makes it hard with the boxes is like some just have cuter fabric.
Yeah.
Like, and also just like taste level and like like I don't know. You can give everyone the same amount of materials to work with, but some just have cuter fabric.
Yeah.
Some just have a color that will pop better like on the camera and
Right.
like under the stage lights. So I don't know.
Kind won the mini challenge, so she got to assign the boxes and specifically tried to undermine everybody's taste levels. And I mean, even if she hadn't, I feel like they all would have sabotaged themselves because this was a rough first challenge. These looks were not good. And you mentioned trying to figure out how to paint without knowing what materials, which is a really great metaphor for
Yeah.
what happens in these design challenges is you have people that have a very specific tailored type of aesthetic.
Yeah.
I'm a pageant queen that always wears heart necklines, sweetheart necklines, and a mermaid gown. I don't know how to make that. So I'm going to make a bodysuit that is ill-fitted. And then the judges are like, what is this? This doesn't look like you. We know you for something else.
Yeah.
Or you get queens like Dela, who are sort of an old-timey queen, don't know what she's doing, and puts together this really couture high fashion look that looks like a woman from a certain era. And so you get it.
Yeah.
And in this one, I don't know if anybody really showed their personality, and I think they were all so intent on showing the materials that they didn't quite create things. Like, I mean, Lemon came out looking like a football hockey
Lemon's
person.
look is so bad. It's tragic.
I mean, they're all bad.
I will give credit to Jimbo. She looks like a clown.
Yeah.
I think that the look is very much on brand for her. I said it earlier. I don't like it. I don't think it's pretty. But I think that it is clown. So good for her. Most of them are like almost naked.
That's the thing.
Like, okay, Lemon's in panties. Priyanka's in panties. Bo is in panties with chaps, at least. Well, she's actually in a diaper with chaps, if we want to get into it.
Anastasia looks so good.
Anastasia's look is really solid.
How did that end up safe? I don't understand. I still don't get it.
Do you have the looks pulled up? Are you looking at them?
Yeah.
Is Boa's bracelet like a varsity like?
It looks like a sock.
It looks like an athletic sock
It looks like an athletic sock
with the
that's been
varsity
cut.
stripes.
I love this look. Do you not like it?
I don't like the titties.
That's fair. The potato titties are weird, but like, I love the hair with the
I don't know.
headpiece.
She looks like a Power Ranger villain to me.
She
I don't know.
does. I think that's why I like it.
But
Thought
I
it was
mean,
really
honestly,
good.
she looks gorgeous, like mugged down.
Mugged.
She's a really pretty queen. I don't think she does get enough appreciation for that.
Alona's weird, like denim. This is not denim. Jersey dress is horrible.
Gray
And then
jersey.
Why are they a
on
zombie?
the runway?
They
Well,
mentioned that they clawed their way out of the grave.
with like the orange strips. I don't
get it.
I don't understand.
The POV is weird. Jimbo does look like a clown, and I do like the look for Jimbo. I don't think that Juice is that egregious in comparison to some of the others.
It's giving Flintstones at the disco.
Oh my god! It's so cute in a weird way.
Honestly, live for Kiara's.
Kiara giving this scarecrow, this really ooky spooky scarecrow.
Yeah.
I love all the use of the flowers, but I don't like the boots. The boots are a problem
Oh, that
for me.
gold boot.
Kynes is kind of cunty. If it
If
for all
it
the shit
stayed
falling off.
together, if it was able to stay intact, it's one of those ones that's like a really nice like. She made something that looks just like an off the rack garment, which
Right.
can either be very well received or very not well received. I think it would have been well received if the balls had not fallen off.
Yeah, Lemon is so egregiously
So
bad.
disgusting. The strappy heel with the thigh high.
The socks. Ooh.
It made me sneeze.
The thigh high fucking socks with the, is there a bow on those? And then the orange, this looks like a felt corset.
Yeah, the corset is so bulky too.
It's just a bunch of stuff put on, but there's no actual garment that was created.
And the mouth guard.
The mouth guard
it
too.
makes her face, her mug look weird.
She looks like a zombie. I think Lemon was very deservedly in the bottom. Priyanka giving slutty sailor. There's not really much of an outfit that's here.
And okay, I just see this trend. Everyone does sexy during the sewing challenge because less fabric. Mm-hmm. You're going to see more skin from a lot of queens in a sewing challenge than you'll see in any other part.
Yeah.
Because, like, it's the most skin you see from Priyanka. It's the most skin you see from Alona. Well, you see her ass, but...
Yeah.
A lot of them just, like, go sexy and just show a lot of skin. They do the Carmen Carrera route. And I feel like I feel like queens don't get clocked enough for this. Because I feel like Priyanka is kind of an egregious example of this.
It's really bad.
Of, like, they just sew, like, they sew less, which, like, I get it. But, like, at least, like, I don't know.
Well, you're looking at the photos, right? Can we talk about how tight those armhole sleeves are?
Girl.
Those ripped coming off. I'm telling you, that ripped in half as soon as she took that off. Like, this is very clearly the first time anyone's ever created a tube top. And even then, like, there's no shape to it at all. It's just a miss.
A lot of the girls, when they sew, like, the skimpy, like, sexy looks, it looks like they just had a drink me potion and they just grew, like, 5 sizes. And now they're in, like, they're tiny, like, what the remnants of what used to be like a one piece, like, has split, and now they're in this, like, tiny little, like, shredded 2-piece.
That's so upsetting because you're right. Then we have the winner of the challenge, which was Rita Baga.
Upsetting then, upsetting now. I'm sorry.
I do like the coat.
The coat is cute.
The underside was horrible.
Okay, but even if you look at the coat, it's not like that's impressive. Like, it's like, it looks like a handkerchief cut coat with mittens along the
mittens are very cool and couture, but that's it.
I will say, we don't see enough handkerchief hems, though. Can I say that? Love, when I was in fashion school, maybe that means I'm not fashionable because I don't see them anywhere. Maybe that means I just don't have my finger on the pulse. I think handkerchief hems are so fun, especially in drag.
Yeah.
Because if you're sewing, that's a really easy, impressive thing to do. It's just like, rotate it and you have a handkerchief hem. And it's like, it looks fun.
I'm a big fan of a princess seam, and I don't see those too often.
Girl, a princess... If these women knew how to do a freaking princess seam, it would transform their life.
That is the only seaming that I ever did. You know, I was here like almost every week sewing shit. I was always doing princess seams.
My draping teacher, when we learned princess seam, she's like, pay attention to this. She's like, you'll want to know this part. Like,
yeah.
Because she said, like, she's like, because, you know, darts and stuff, she's like, I don't really like doing darts, I don't really like doing pleats, but you can always do this seam, like, and this, and it just always is going to look good.
And in drag, like, you have a shape that's built into your outfit.
Yeah.
That, like, if you know what you're doing, you could rhinestone it too, so that your whole seam is rhinestoned all the way down to wherever you put your waist. And then it's just like, chef's kiss. Ugh,
and
I love it.
It looks more professional too.
I agree. The wiki sent me all the way back up to the top of the page.
But yeah, Rita's look is fascinating because, like, handkerchief, little shawl, cute. And then just like a blue lame dress, like a blue lame cocktail dress. No shape, up and down, pole body.
Come on, Jasmine Masters.
It's rough. It's a bad look.
Bobo looks cute as hell with
Bobo's
these
just really cute. I don't love the white diaper.
Yeah, with the bee on it.
Just a bee right on the puss. But honestly, like, it's really cute. Like, I love how she used the handkerchiefs and everything.
The colors are cute. Yeah, I agree. The diaper's a little bad.
But, like, she could perform in this easy, like, down.
I really love Tainomi's look. This lumberjack is adorable.
How do you feel about that sock monkey, like, thing?
I think we shouldn't have to talk about that.
Yeah.
I think we could talk about the rest of it.
I do actually like the way that she, like, placed the, what is that called? The buffalo plaid.
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Like, the way that's, like, I think she put it on the shoe. It's cropped out. But it looks like she has a buffalo plaid boot. and then it's like on certain parts of like her thigh, her waist, and then the titties. Like she did a really good job like framing it.
Right.
I think in movement, honestly, it wasn't as cute, but when you look at it in the picture, it looks like probably how she probably draped it onto a mannequin and didn't really move around in it much. But on a mannequin, I'm sure it's gorgeous, and on her, it's gorgeous in still.
Okay. In movement, it wasn't.
Oh, look at her wrist. See,
I just noticed that too. The sock monkey on the wrist.
Boa copied her, I swear. Boa and her both have like a varsity like bracelet where it's like the white stripe with the other stripe. I don't know.
God, I love Boa's look. I can't believe you don't like that.
The dress itself is really impressive.
Right.
Like if in terms of like constructed garments, I mean, obviously I think Jimbo's is probably the most technically impressive what she did. But if you look at Boa's garment, like the way that she has like the corset done, I mean, like that is a corset. Like her waist is going in.
Yeah.
Which you
with
can't
a bunch
say,
of shit glued on it.
Which you can't say for most sewing challenge corsets. Like, yeah, she has a really great shape, even with the bows all over it, and the bows are actually placed in a pretty well done way. The potatoes.
The potatoes are so distracting for you.
The potatoes are rough.
I understand that. Rita wins, which I disagreed with.
Okay, so who would have been your winner?
Well, of the ones that were up in the top?
That's the thing, though, because it's Jimbo and Boa in the top, right?
If it were between the two of them, I mean, I'm sorry. I really love Boa's look. That green looked so good on her, and the hair choice was great. And I think a big part of a design challenge is not what you've made. I mean, that obviously is a big thing. It's how you style it.
Oh, yeah.
And
styling and presentation.
Yeah. And the potatoes were such a weird thing. To incorporate that in and be like, y'all give me fucking potatoes. Yeah. So I'm going to put potatoes on this runway. And y'all have to look at the fact that they gave me goddamn potatoes.
Yeah. I think Bobo probably won for styling and presentation.
Right. And the hair like snatched back with that big ginger minge snatch that she did. God, and the makeup was beautiful. I loved that look.
Yeah. Of the safe girls, shout out to Anastasia, and honestly, shout out to Bobo a little bit.
Yeah,
I feel like Bobo like definitely wasn't like a winner, but I feel like she was a high safe.
Definitely, 100%. The bottoms are not kind, even though her balls were everywhere. It's juice and lemon, which I understand lemon.
Well, definitely lemon. Juice, yeah. I mean, juice is low for me.
Yeah, it's definitely not like the best one, but I mean, there's so many really egregious looks that came down the runway that first week. It's hard.
I feel like, honestly, as much as I love her, I feel like Prianka could have been low.
Yeah.
I think Alona could have been low.
Alona, for sure. This jersey is rancid. And the orange storyline with the black hands does not make any sense at all. It just doesn't. It's really weird. And the very first song of the very first season is a Carly Rae Jepsen song. I Really Like You, which I love this song. I just love Carly Rae Jepsen and I Really Like You.
It like reminds me how much I like this song.
Yeah.
Because this is very like early. Is this Emotion, this song?
Or
is it?
I can't remember which one it is.
Because I feel like this was not long after Call Me Maybe.
No.
And so, like, to me, this is still very early. I feel like this is before Emotion.
It appears to be Emotion. Hold on. I'm scrolling right now. As a stan of Carly, I should know this was on. It is Emotion.
Oh, wow. Okay. Because to me, I feel like it's very much, like, really the beginning of her post Call Me Maybe career. Mm-hmm. So I don't think about it much because it's so like early Carly.
Right.
And I hear I'm like, wow, it is good.
Her vocal range is crazy and she gets no props. And I think it's because Carly leans in on, I'm making music for weirdos and crazy people, which is why I love her music because I'm a weirdo and a crazy person. That line in the song, "Who gave you eyes like that and said you could keep them?" Like, what kind of witchcraft spellbinding is that?
And then Lemon's interpretation of that, where she's snatching the eyeballs in the lip sync. Like, come on. Lemon knew the ridiculousness of that line.
Yeah. I mean, they both turned it out, even to the point where Brooke says that's how you do a lip sync.
Yeah.
And I will say, going forward, things I'm excited to talk about are the lip syncs, because this cast, more than I think any in other seasons so far, every lip sync was a banger, except like maybe one. They were all good. This was an exceptionally strong, performance heavy group that not a lot of other seasons of Canada's Drag Race really attains. Sorry, CC Superstar, I know you're listening. Sorry, Luna Dubois.
Sorry,
I know
girls.
you're listening. Sorry to pretty much the whole of Forest cast, but like, except Nira, like, these lip syncs were it. And having Carly be the very first one was excellent. Something we breezed by, which honestly was probably for good reason, is the guest judges introducing the challenge. To me, that feels like a couple things. One, we're afraid to take too much power from Rue. We don't want to necessarily make it like Brooke is on her level, because there was nobody else that was doing it. Like Pangina and Art were doing that, but like not a lot of eyes were on Thailand's Drag Race. I think Fred opened up doors to Brooke specifically to be like, it's okay, you can do it, it's fine. Because the other queens that came after Fred, they all do it. There's nobody else that takes over that role, right?
I can't think of any.
I'm pretty sure that they all, like, the hostess does it, but where this one they have the guest judge do that, so it feels like that. But then it also kind of feels like, well, you know, we're being polite and we're being Canadian, so our guest gets to be the one that does it all.
Right.
But we get these awkward moments where, like, Alicia Cuthberg, I think is her name, or Alicia Cuthberg is the very first one. I know her from 24, playing this extremely annoying character named Kim. She, like, goes, the time has come for you to lip sync for your life. It's like, ew.
Lip sync
Stop.
for your life.
Please stop.
Yeah, that's
I hate
such a fever
it.
dream, them introducing it.
Yeah. But Michelle got to do it, and that made me happy. And I think Tracy got to do it too. So, like, the two of them, they were it. Yeah. What do you think about the guest judge doing that?
It feels weird, because the way I see it is, like, it's strange that RuPaul doesn't want to give the power to another queen, but it's fine with, like, these random, like, straight men, women, like, coming in and taking it. Like, that's kind of how I feel about it. Is like, it feels like you'd rather give authority to randos than a drag queen.
Yeah.
That felt a little weird, but I mean, I guess
Was that weird for you?
That was strange for me. Yeah. I mean, it's cute, but I feel like an entire season of it was a little. It started getting old after like episode 5 or 6.
Yeah, I was ready for it to be done. I was so ready for season 2 where Brooke takes over.
Yeah.
Also, Brooke's fashion journey
from
this season where she looks so pedestrian to where we're at now in 4, like where we just ended. Every week was a banger.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, Brooke like was being so pulled back and so reserved at that time, and I'm so glad that she doesn't do that anymore.
Yeah.
She like got her footing, and it's been nice to see Brooke grow.
Agreed.
And her face to get pumped.
Well, and her mug has like really grown. She looks so good now.
So good. Tracy's old mug. It was so jarring seeing her come in. Because you remember when she came in 4 and she was just like snatched.
Oh my god. Yeah.
It was like almost jump scare.
Literally, right? Yeah, she looks so different.
Her eyes were like pulled all the way up to like her hairline, and her lips were huge, and her cheeks had been done. And then you see this old Tracy Melchior face, and it's like, oh, this little like baby doll.
I remember her.
Me too. But that is the end for this one. We'll talk more episodes next time.
Hey.
And there's a lot of unconventional design challenges to discuss this season.
Oh, I'm excited.
Yeah, I think we should actually like get into those because these are some interesting ones to talk about. And I liked that. I liked talking about those looks.
Yeah.
That's my favorite part of each episode is looking at the runway.
Tea.
But thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this one, and we will talk to you next week for another Canada's Drag Race episode. Remember, you're doing a fantastic job. You're doing the best you can, and that is all you can do. Goodbye.
Bye.